call the informational meeting to order. So it's my understanding that when we call, I've never done these before, so when we call the informational meeting to order, this is a time for the community to ask questions about anything that might be on their mind about the town meeting tomorrow. So I was gonna just let you guys figure, lead the, Jonathan said that you usually lead the conversation.
I will start with the people in the chair in-house.
I think generally when I've gone to informational meetings before, there's some type of introductory presentation by whatever group is hosting the informational session, so maybe give us some kind of lead-in here that.
I do have some information I can share with her.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, in our town, I'm sorry, hold on for a second. So I'm referencing the town report of 2021. It came in the mail to the residents of Fairfield. And I'm just going to skip down to through some of the articles of the meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow is our town meeting, and the warning of this annual town meeting is to elect a moderator for a term of 1 year, one select person for a term of 3 years, one select person for a term of 2 years, one select person for the remainder of a 3-year term, 2 years, one select person for the remainder of a 2-year term for 1 year, one auditor for a term of 3 years, one lister for a term of 2 years, one library trustee for a term of 3 years, one library trustee for a term of 2 years, a first constable for the term of 1 year. So I was just wondering if there's anybody in the room who is running for any of those positions who want to introduce themselves? No? Okay.
Go ahead. I'm Ron Bokash. I'm running for the remainder of the 3-year term, 2 years. Live on the pond. So.
Brian's with us virtually. It looks like he's coming on.
Yeah, I'm Brian Doobie. I'm running for remainder of 2 years, 1 term. And sir, I'm not there. I got a little mother-in-law assistant's got a little health issue going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, I'm Melissa Southwick. I'm running for the 2-year term for the library trustee.
Thank
I
you.
didn't catch your name.
Melissa Southwick.
Melissa, okay. The 2-year term.
Thank you.
Now, my question here, these individuals who've spoken, are their names on the ballots? I think Ron's was and Brian's. Are you Melissa? Yes. Okay.
Yes. Do you have a copy of the ballot with you?
No.
Okay.
So we don't have a big presentation. The highlights of the budget for tomorrow are, this is a big topic, right? We ended up with a 4.5% increase, mostly driven by increased expenses across the board,
Salary was a big one.
salaries, supplies.
Hopefully more gravel on the road.
Yep. Outside of that, there's really nothing drastic that took place in the budget.
Some things actually dropped, but others, excuse me, other things rose. So we tried to keep it as low as we could and be realistic what we were doing.
A significant, we expect a significant change in one of our insurance policies, so we put a bunch of money in to cover that. But, yeah, we didn't, we don't have a big fancy presentation, but if anybody in the room wants to start with a question, it's something you guys. Is there a hand up online?
Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
We had published for the library the comments of the 3 candidates who are running for the
Kathy.
2-year
Waiting
term at the library, as well as
Waiting
the
room.
comments from Samantha Thomas, who is running unopposed for the 3-year term. I know and encourage the candidates to either come to the meeting personally or to join on Zoom. If any of them want to share any of their information, would this be a good time to do that?
Yes, this would be a good time to do that.
Okay, I just wanted to invite them to do so at this time then.
Would you like me to go ahead?
Sure.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melissa Southwick. My family and I moved here in 2017 and we live up on St. Pierre Road. We first started with the library because my daughter would go there after school and we found it to just be incredibly helpful and a wonderful resource. I currently am on the chair and the co-chair of the board of directors at Franklin County Home Health. And previously I was the president of the board of directors at Care Partners Adult Day. I work for the Vermont Department of Health to administer public health programs like a DPP, which is a diabetes prevention program, across the state. And prior to that, I was the director of a program called SASH. I feel like these experiences, along with my professional background and our passion for the library, would all be a valuable asset, and I would love to be a part of the library.
Thank you. Did anybody else, is anybody else running who's online who would like to speak?
I'm Deanna Bailey. I'm joining by Zoom. I just wanted to say hello and that I'm interested in being on the trustee, a trustee on the board for the library, just as a way to be involved in my community and get to know folks a little bit better than I have over the last nearly 30 years that I've lived in town. And so, hello, everyone.
Thank you. The library also asked me to speak about a few things. Laura, did you want me to do that? Or would you like to do that?
Gives us over here to start. So much.
All right, you.
Laura, would you like me to speak about your talking points, or would you like to do that? Laura Fullweiler is the
I'll
chair of the
defer to
trustees.
Speaker Burns on that. I will defer to Peter.
Peter?
Hi, this is Peter Burns, trustee, library. Kathy, all the items that you mentioned in your email, I think you should address those.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Wondering, Kathy, sorry to interrupt. I wonder if just as I think I'm the last person here just running for a trustee spot, so I thought I'd take a quick second to say hello.
okay,
Would that be all right?
Please do.
please do.
Okay, great. So I have the luxury of running unopposed, so that's exciting. But it's good to see everybody. I've been on the board for a few years now, and I've really loved it. On Thursday a month, where before COVID, we were huddled together in the room, really thinking through how to support our small but mighty library. And I've enjoyed being able to see what a critical role our library plays in our community. And so I'm really excited about being able to serve our community on the board yet again. And I look forward to getting to know the next new trustee. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, all of you. I'm thrilled that there are 3 people running for that seat. It shows great commitment and dedication to our library. So I'm very glad, and I'm also very glad that Samantha has agreed to run again. All good news. Thank you.
So as Peter mentioned, the overall, there is a memo that was drafted by the library to discuss some of the pieces of the budget that you might see in the library budget. So Article 5 asks the voters to approve a library budget of $149,914. Overall, the library budget decreased from 2021 to 2022 by $168, which is a decrease of 0.1%. Since 2020, the library's total tax request has increased by 3%. Last year, that was different because there was an $11,000 surplus from 2020 as a result of COVID. The total non-tax revenue is budgeted for $33,920. That is the amount that would not be asked from the taxpayers. The proposed calendar year 2022 budget in the annual reports budget on page 20, if you have your book review, reads $149,030.20, which is actually $883.80 less than what is warned, and that was due to an oversight. The $883.80, if Article 5 passes, would be applied to the assistant salary to ensure that the librarian has coverage for the time off allowed to her according to the municipal personnel policy. With the $883.80 added, the assistant salary line would now read a total of $14,483.80. On the next page, page 20, with this adjustment, the bottom line would change to the amount requested on the ballot, $149,914. So then, subtracting the budgeted non-tax revenues from this amount, the total that is being requested from the taxpayers for the library this year changes to $115,994. If there are any questions, let me know.
Can I
Yeah.
speak to? So I just wanted to introduce myself. I am Sarah Allerton. I'm the new library director. This is my first town meeting with you all. So just wanted to say how grateful I was for how welcoming everybody has been, and just highlight just a few of the things that have been going on with the library this year. What we're seeing, which is really, we're really proud of, is there's an increase of just about everything. There's an increase in our collection size, there's an increase in the number of patrons using the library, and continual increase in the circulation of physical materials. Don't let anybody tell you that that physical materials are becoming less important. We've had a year-over-year increase in that. So now that COVID is easing, the doors are opening to more and more programming. We're just really looking forward to getting everybody back in and seeing everybody for all the fantastic things that the library is doing. So we will appreciate the support of our budget this year. Thanks.
Thank you. So going back to the annual report, Article 3 asks the voters to approve a budget for the municipality of $1,595,000. And as David said, the primary driver was the overall increased costs due to inflation. The amount being raised in taxes, being requested from the taxpayers, is $1,089,400, excuse me. And we do have some highlights from this year. I don't know if anybody wants to speak to what we've done this year.
Go ahead, Dave.
Took my turn, it's your turn.
Uh-huh. Well, it's like usual, I'd say, road improvements is our biggest thing we've done. Culvert changes. I think there's a couple other projects they worked on.
Omar Road.
Yeah, the stone line ditching, the same, many of the things we've been doing, just keep trying to improve the back roads and make sure they stay stable. So we don't lose roads through flooding and those kinds of things. Oh, there's 2 or 3 other projects, if we get the money, one is down by Rob Brandon's old farm. That culvert's gotta be changed. Hopefully we get this grant through the state. If we do, that's one of our big projects next summer. The one that hopefully goes along is Jeware Road. There's a big culvert over there that has to be done. It's gone through the whole studying phase and the bids have been put out. That's probably the biggest project that'll be happening in 2022. And that one's, unless something major comes up, that one's pretty much set to happen. So that'll be the biggest, I'd say that's the biggest thing we get going this summer is that one. But again, we're trying to keep the, like on the North Road, those culverts are 60 years old. Actually, they'll be 60 years old this year, I believe. I think it was 1960 was in there or something like that to put those in. So 62, something like that. It's so that we really gotta start thinking about changing these culverts. We're gonna have to, we don't have an option. So if we kind of phase things in, hopefully keep everything ahead of it. So far we've done all right with the money. Oh, I forget which count it's in, but basically it's to do our match for those different projects. So a lot of them got a 20% match or 10%. So we have the money on hand, so if the thing goes through, we can keep things. That's why we tried pretty hard to keep these tax rates pretty stable. We don't try to do too many big things and, like the town buildings that we've got, I think we got 1 year left on that sand shed and that'll be paid for. So all the new infrastructure that's been in town since this building was built in 2002 are all paid for next year. So that's what we're hoping to keep our goal is get things done, but not wind up like so many towns so far in deep in debt. They can't seem to get out from under it. So. Tom, is there any other projects? I can't think of.
Just not the projects, but the ARPA fund. That's our new federal relief fund that we've got. We gave out two amounts of money. One was $18,000, right, Dave, for the East Fairfield Water District. They need a study they gotta put a new roof on the reservoir. And then the other one was for
48,000.
Yeah, 47 something.
48,000 to the Fairfield Fire Department, so they can charge their air packs in-house rather than go outhouse. So if they have some training and they wanna use 10 air packs, they can charge them there themselves. And so we gave them some money of that release, of that federal fund, so they could purchase, that cascade, they call it a cascade system, so they can charge their air tanks in-house rather than go to, it's Sheldon, Bakersfield, but then you gotta, touch base with those guys where they can do it now in 10 minutes to themselves, and if they have a major fire, they can fill their own, but the training is a big thing. If they wanna train, they don't have to worry about trying to get somebody to fill their tanks before they have a fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they don't have to worry about doing the training, have a fire come up, and the tanks are empty. This way here, they can fill them immediately when they're done training and they're there. So I think it's a long-term investment on that thing for the fire department. And we're very lucky to have the number of people we have on the volunteer fire department. I mean, many towns are crying for volunteers and you guys are pretty much at full staff, aren't you, Dave?
We're running right around 20 to 23
Yeah.
people that consistently show up.
Show up and actually know what they're doing and train, yeah. So, I'd say as a town, we're very fortunate to have that kind of volunteerism.
I also wanted to just mention that you had mentioned this as well, but I think it's worth noting that this year we completed a Better Roads inventory, which we worked with the Northwest Regional Planning Commission on, and that helps us to identify in our roads all of the roads that are high risk and need attention. And that will provide us a pathway forward. So there are already some plans to address things on North Road and other things related to that work. And in terms of grants, I just want to say that I'm the new town administrator, Kathy Ainsworth, and I started in October, late September. And I'm just really impressed by this community's commitment to grants and grant writing and offsetting that financial burden. So I could go on, but I won't.
But that ARPA money, what is the total amount we hope to get?
So
Thank
the total amount, so there are two pockets that come in. One is a county amount and one is a municipal amount, and they're based on population. So between last year's allotment and this year's allotment, the total amount will be $583,802. And that money, the select board has already been starting to talk about also our capital plans, the buildings that we have in town, possibly, there's some attention that needs to go toward that. But we haven't made, the select board hasn't made a clear plan. We have been, it's been requested by there was only a final rule settled in January. So Northwest Regional Planning Commission and the state has suggested that we wait and be mindful and planful and strategic on how we're gonna spend that money. So that's why I know I get some questions about that regularly. That's why we haven't spent a lot of it. It's because it's suggested that we just don't, not yet.
But I think a thing to remember, 589,000 is a lot of money.
Mhm.
But when you get these projects that run $1 million, $1.25 million, $1.5 million, just meeting our share of different projects can chew that up pretty easily. I think sometimes people, it is a lot of money, but the cost of doing these projects are just so much larger than they used to be. Our share is, we've got to be pretty careful how we dole it out or where we dole it out. So we'd like to do some things, well, like this water deal in East Fairfield, they don't have enough money to get started, and they have to do the study before they can apply for grants to fix the water holding area. So, and I think another thing they were hoping is replacement of meters. I think maybe both districts, I don't know, that's what it's just in the talk stage.
Yeah, we're in the early stages yet.
It was so that they can basically do your water meters right from the road, not bother anybody's houses or anything, and they're more accurate, because half the ones in that district, I believe, don't function properly. And I'm sure some of these have got 30 years old, I believe, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, we're trying to look at some long-term thing that, not likely we're gonna come up with this money again right offhand.
And they just really started the bylaw or the breakdown of what you could do with it. And they, they said before and then they changed it and now they're just getting to where you, tell you what the nuts and bolts are going to.
There's a number of years we can use, it isn't like it's gonna be spent this year. It's like 4 years.
Yeah, 2025, it needs to
Yeah.
be expended by
So
2025.
there's quite a period of time.
And there might be some materials available at that point compared to right now on different projects,
So I guess, does anybody have any?
Yeah, are there any driving questions for town meeting or the budget report or?
No, I didn't have any specific questions when I came, but I just always appreciate what you all do on a weekly basis and what you choose to share with us about the projects that are happening, what you may be thinking about for the future. So, I'm just both here for both, expressing appreciation, as I said, and to listen to what your thoughts are going forward.
It's always good to get other ideas too, and that's a big part of it, is there something we think about, but somebody else says, hey, wait a minute, this is more critical, or we think it's more critical. Make sure to kind of analyze it, see if it is or isn't in your mind.
You got a hand up there, guys.
Harry, did you want to speak?
I was just curious, I saw them working on the rail trail over by the dog leg on 36, and I was curious whether the town is involved in that at all, and are we paying for any of that?
No,
No.
not state.
That's all state and federal. Yeah, we don't have a thing to do with it.
Good, let them fix it.
Yeah.
If there aren't any questions, we can move to our regular meeting, or?
Yeah, if it's, we're not pushing it, we're just saying.
Yeah,
if there's questions,
no.
we're willing to try to answer.
Kathy, I could answer any questions about the community center if anyone has any. I mean, that is one of the warning items, is to appropriate $15,000 to go towards the Fairfield Community Center. And if anyone has any questions, I'm on board to represent them in answering questions.
Seems like do a pretty good decent job every year there for what the allocations are, in my mind.
Yeah, I think we've had a great year, yeah.
I think you could highlight, Julie, what you had talked about at the meeting, you know, what's going, like the pavilion and what's going on, your windows and your ramp and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could start with programming. The youth program, Black Cricket Venture Camp has the most campers they've ever had. I think we average maybe between 35 and 40 a week. We had a really good collaboration with the school that helped with that. And then our food programs have been really well received. We haven't done congregate meals for almost 2 years, but switched to a takeout option. And we've been consistently serving 65 meals a week through that. And combining that with food shelf visits, both of the community meals distribution and food shelf is on Tuesday, so we're really pretty busy on Tuesday. As part of the food shelf and community meals, we've distributed, I think, over $7,000 pounds of produce this year, which is really exciting that people are eating healthier. What else? Terry asked about the rail trail. The community center is leasing a room to the state engineers that are monitoring the rail trail work, so that's a benefit to our community that we have some rental income. We got a Vermont Community Development Program grant to build a pavilion that's fully paid for project that hopefully we'll have constructed within the next 6 months. It will be a 24 by 40 post and beam building for outside activities, or have a covered space outside. We potentially could have a small farmer's market there for the food shelf. We could bring all of our products outside and distribute them that way. It'll be shelter for fundraisers, for community activities. And we see it as connecting to the rail trail pretty well, because it could be a place for people using the rail trail to come and sit and picnic and have some shelter. Yeah, I think we've had a great year.
I also noted, in our most recent grant meeting, there's a collaboration between the library and the community center, the municipality, the rec committee, and we come together and have grant meetings. And one of the recent grant meetings, there's an application going in again for the summer program at your facility, and it'll be in collaboration this year with the library, which I think just kind of is a testament to people's, I think there's some interest in making sure that we're integrated and supporting each other.
And just to acknowledge the town's role, that the town does own the 5 acres and does own the community center building, and we are leasing it, and we really appreciate the town being receptive guess, we can't do that.
You guys do a good job of what you're giving over there. It's not easy and there's a lot of work for a few people, so appreciate it.
Is there anybody else online who had any questions or comments about this year's town meeting?
I was curious why nobody was running for the auditor or lister positions. Are they that difficult or if anybody's, what the select board is going to assign people to those or?
Well, I guess if no one runs, or if no one accepts it, if they did get nominated or voted in, the select board, I believe, would have to try to appoint someone. And hopefully we could get someone to take the position. Because I know other towns have found themselves in similar positions that they can't get people to run for different offices. So
I've got 2 comments in chat.
we may have to review different ways we do appraisals, I guess, or the listing, you know, whether we're a part-time lister or outside person. That's what some towns are doing. It's nothing we're encouraging, but yeah, I guess we're gonna have to be realistic in the future. Hopefully that answers your question.
Any other questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I just need to say how much I've missed town meeting the last 2 years. I appreciate this forum because I think it's important that people have access to know what elected bodies and people are doing. But I do miss town meeting, clearly. And just as there's been a lot of change in the last year, I just want to acknowledge our welcoming Sarah Allerton as our librarian and to bid farewell to Christina Bolduc, who served on our library board. And I hope lots of people come out to vote tomorrow. I hope we have a big turnout.
Thank you, Laura.
Which reminds me, I was going to drop off my ballots tonight at the box at the town office. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Yuri.
We take a 5-minute break, so anybody that wants to leave can, and we'll come back and start our regular meeting.
Yes, and I could have some help putting away chairs and setting up voting booths.
There may be another whole group that chooses to come in to fill these seats after this meeting.
Well, we'll,
Thank you so much for all of you.
Thank you.
we'll leave a few out, how's that?
So
Thank you,
we're gonna
everybody.
make
Thank
the
you.
shift. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you, everyone.
You're together, perfect.
And Emily from the Northwest Regional Planning Commission. Welcome, Emily. Ooh, she can't hear us. Hi, Emily. Thank you for being here.
Hello, yeah, thank you for having me.
So, do you want to kick it off, or
No,
no?
you can. You've got all the pieces,
Well,
and I can speak.
Emily
to
has all the pieces. I have a
So
good
this
idea.
is, well, this is about the pavilion and a process that we have to go through to put out the project for bids and also for invoicing and payment of the project.
So, yeah, we've had a few conversations about this. When the grant was originally approved, the idea was that we would really let the community center and NRPC kind of run with most of it. Emily we have the award now, is that correct? We had the award and then it had to be
Yes.
revised and.
Yeah, so we have the award. There was a number of conditions that needed to be completed to get to the grant agreement. Those are now all completed, and there is a draft grant agreement that is still being finalized by VCDP. They have to have their team of lawyers look everything over, and that process takes a little while. We are also currently working on a small budget amendment, which should be not a problem for the project, but that also will be reflected in the final grant agreement. But yeah, the current award amount is for $77,225, and there's no match required. So that's the grant agreement piece.
So there are a couple of details that in order to meet the requirements of the grant, there are a few details that some conditions that we had to follow. One is that the town of Fairfield has to be the fiscal, the fiscal agent for this. So any invoicing that is involved with this process would need to come to us in order to process with our accounts payable. And I envision that to be similar to the way the library invoices, sends their invoices over. There's an overall memorandum of understanding that we've been working on to make sure that the responsibilities related to all of that are clear between the entities, and there's also a clear delineation of what our policies are in terms of our financial management. So we do have a draft of this for you to sign today if you want to look it over and think about it. But we also need to touch base about the grant policy requirements again. I brought it up at our last meeting and I gave you a copy of the policies that the grant is requiring. And these are similar to the policies that we signed saying that we had in other grants. So this is the list. I actually included in the packet that I gave everybody a list of those grants, what those policies are and what we have and what we don't have. Anything else?
If there's
So
questions.
you're good with this whole?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we worked on it collaboratively.
Also in that packet, and correct me if I'm wrong, the contract between the town and Northwest Regional Planning, where Northwest Regional Planning is doing the majority of the grant administration and program management tasks, so that won't fall on the town. So the real responsibility of the town in terms of management is just what Kathy laid out in terms of the financial management piece. But all of the other pieces, for example, submitting requisitions for funding, doing progress reporting, working on all those conditions is being completed by NRPC, and that's all laid out. Those responsibilities are all laid out in that contract.
Also, this grant will follow the town's policy on bidding. So there will be a process where the bids will be posted and we will have to have a sealed opening at the select board reading of those bids.
And in terms of soliciting bids, we're working with Jim Cameron, and hopefully we'll have a process together and he can really lead the community center through the process.
He has a good knowledge of that, so.
He does, I mean, yeah. And Kathy has provided us with your procedures for bids. And I think they are in alignment with the state and federal bidding process. So.
And I understand that we do have a little time to draft the policies that are required. So at this time, we don't have them in front of us, but we do have the list of what it'll look like.
So if we follow federal standards, why do we have to have our own policies on these?
Emily, you had a good answer for that before.
Yeah, so some of them are redundant to essentially federal law or state law initially, and some of them are a little bit like whistleblower policies are a little bit beyond what just would be under federal or state law. They are required for the grants. Essentially, the federal government, who is the original funding source for this, just likes to have double check the boxes that you've committed to these things, even if they are, for example, like equal opportunity employment, they are law. They don't
required
like
to,
have
just a minute, are we
they operate
required
on
to,
needing the paperwork for
are we
everything.
required to do more policies, or we follow the federal state guidelines?
This is requiring us, and also,
But are we, to get these grants, or are we required to come up with all these policies? Or if we follow state and federal laws, does that meet the requirement? That's what I'm asking.
yes, no.
Are we all, before we've been told we were in compliance because we followed federal and state law. We didn't have to come up with a whole bunch more policies. We were told at that time that we met the requirements because we followed federal and state. That's why I'm wondering why now we would have to do a whole new policy deal.
So VCDP likes to see, and for part of the VCDP process involves a lawyer's review of these documents, and they typically like to see them written out to provide
Yeah, they like
that
to see it. I'm just asking, is it
essentially.
required to get the grants? That's what I'm
It's
asking.
my understanding.
Are we legally required the town to come up with all these other policies we haven't had so far? To get these grants we've received previously?
I can't
With
speak
the stuff we had in place.
So my understanding, and I went back and looked at the other grants that we have signed on, and they all, when the signature is going on the documents, it's saying that we have these policies. So I'm not sure why we, it seems to me like when it's written in the documents that we're supposed to abide by those for the grants, including ARPA.
But we haven't not abide by state and federal law on anything I've been aware of. That's why I'm questioning why we have to set a whole policy thing up if we're already following state and federal guidelines. That's what I'm asking. I'm just,
Yeah, I hear you.
just seems like more bureaucracy, more bull, more stuff we can't enforce anyway in some of these.
Yeah, some of them we can.
So why do it? Why put yourself in the position of having to try to
Right,
enforce something
because
we don't
next
have the
week
ability
somebody's
to
gonna
do?
want something worded a little bit different. So, Emily, there you go. Sorry, Emily.
Yes.
So, what Gavin's asking, all he wants a yes, no, is do we need to spend a week writing up all these policies, putting them into our policy manual or whatever bookwork we have for it? Not that we're opposed to it, not that it's a problem, but are we doing it for something or is it all for none?
Yes, for VCDP, they're gonna wanna see evidence of these policies adopted. There are draft policies that I can provide to Kathy from VCDP that will help you so you don't have to draft them all from scratch unless there's something that you need to change about. But yes, for the VCDP grant, I can't speak to every situation, but I know in the past with grants, I've been asked to show evidence of those policies to get that letter of review from the lawyer complete. I obviously can't speak to every federal grant. Some of them might operate a little differently in terms of how to meet those compliance sections.
I hear what you're saying, though. It makes sense that it would be overkill if it was.
It's overkill, and I think it makes us more liable on stuff we can't even enforce. So that's what I'm questioning. I'm not against or I'm not pro or against, but I'm just questioning.
Yeah.
Why are we putting ourselves in a position that we don't need to be in one?
Yeah, and in this case, it sounds from my understanding of Emily is that it's necessary according to the grant requirements.
For this singular grant?
For this singular grant.
But just for this grant, not for.
Well, when I looked, I did read through the other federal grants because Emily was telling me that these are things that are usually required in other grants, and it says when we're signing on federal grants that we have these policies.
And so, in fact,
Not
maybe-
all of them, but most of them.
maybe by having the policies, it will protect you from, if the monies you have received from federal sources is reviewed, the town maybe is not in compliance, and I don't know what the ramifications of that would be.
But how can we not be in compliance if we follow federal and state guidelines?
Yeah, but if we signed on a no and we didn't follow the policies and we signed for it, and we didn't meet the requirements, but they haven't given us an audit or review,
Right.
that could just not be seen. So if they reviewed those documents and we're not in compliance, you're at risk of actually having to pay the grant back.
Right.
So.
And like certain things on here, they're not applicable to us, so we have no way of enforcing them. Like police force, how the hell are we gonna do that one?
And we actually did talk about, I asked Emily about that one because we don't have a police force.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
Linda may
I
have
did
one.
ask VCDP, and they said that you need to have it anyway. Again, I think that some of these things that I agree, they don't always make the most common sense. But they are just a good way that if you did have an audit or you did have someone from the federal government want to look over the program, to make sure that you had all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. It means that you just are putting yourself in a position of better safety of any sort of review of the grant.
The other one that we don't need, that one we do need for no reason, but the one that it sounds like we don't need and we are not gonna need to do anything about is the subrecipient oversight monitoring fund policy, which doesn't apply because we don't have subrecipient.
Is there any exclusions to these policies documented, or? I've dealt with grants before, and there'd be exclusions for certain items that, we may not need.
Well, that's what I did ask about the use of force policy, and I am still waiting. That was the initial answer from BCDP. The grant specialist was going to check in with some other people at the agency, but that was the initial answer that I got, was that it was still required. I agree that is a little confusing, but perhaps the federal government, it's like if you did one day have a police force, which I know Fairfield is not going to do, but again, sometimes these things are more about having the paper than it is.
I'm not, the days of saying we follow state and federal are gone more and more, because every grant is gonna say, do you have a policy, not do you follow federal policy? I'm not opposed to writing this stuff down. I'm just, last week when it was put in front of us to sign, we didn't know what we have, what we don't. We need to look through our handbooks, our policies, fill them out. We should have a equal opportunity and a drug-free. It's one of those stupid paperwork things that in this day and age, the more we do ARPA, the more we do federal funds, the more we're gonna need them.
So this is in front of you in a packet that has a clip on it, like a little black clip. This is a packet of information.
That's yours, Ron, sorry.
So that list.
We stole all your stuff. That's probably all yours.
How come no one's ever asked for it before?
So that list is.
That's what I'm wondering.
I think
Have
third or
you been
fourth.
audited?
We haven't had a grant specific audit.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Anybody reads statutes and codes, there's so many.
Next year, we will have to have a second audit, not just the regular one, but because we have so many. If we spend any of the ARPA funds in addition to the Jouer Road work, it will trigger a singular audit, and the state of Vermont does ask for us to verify the amounts that we spent. I just verified those for this last week with the state of Vermont, so they do ask, and then it triggers a singular audit of the federal grants, but we haven't had one before.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, we have,
They've audited some of those grants before, but they never had, you know, for the money wise, so it's, they were happy with the way the money was spent, so they were happy.
Mm-hmm. So with the money, but not with the grant agreement?
Well, I don't,
Yeah.
they never looked, I mean, we got grants for a while, and they, 2 or 3 times they, you know, come through and look to make sure it was spent the way it was supposed to be, and they were happy.
that's good.
Yeah, programmatic audits are not all that common to experience, but they can happen and they're pretty random for the most part.
So the draft you put in front of us is what, Emily?
That was the first draft. We've looked it over again. I've determined which ones we have. I listed those on this paper.
Okay, so
and I
we just
can
need to sit
revise
down,
this.
go through what policies we have,
Right.
whatever stuff is
Right.
historically hidden in your
Right,
office
I
in
did that,
there.
yep.
Okay, so,
So the ones that we don't have are the fair housing, use of excessive force, policy of VCDP funds for federal lobbying, code of ethics, subrecipient
right,
oversight.
so we need to do something.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Gavin, but I think the more, all these
Well, I'm
grants,
questioning it. It just seems every time we do something now,
There's
we
policy.
wind up with all this stuff that we never previously done, the programs we've done before.
right, but
It's like-
outside of, my concern last week when you brought this to us was half of this stuff is here somewhere. Vermont or Fairfield is not all those things, you know, we're not, that stuff has gotta be here somewhere.
do
I wanna
have it,
find it
yeah,
where it's written. I don't wanna replicate something that
that's,
we have, but I think we do need something just, cause that's the way of the world now.
we do have the equal opportunity, it's embedded in the personnel policy, and the drug-free workplace is also embedded in our personnel policy.
No, it's also.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's.
So I guess that there is an MOU going around. Where did that land?
Yeah, I have that, so.
Okay. That would be an MOU between, oops. Uh-oh. She's coming. Oh, I lost you. You're back. You're here.
So what, you were finishing the MOU?
Sorry. Hold on. Let me get Emily here. Okay, you're back. Hi. So there's
Hello,
an
I seem
MOU
to be cutting in and out a little bit.
that is for the arrangement between the community center and the town of Fairfield, which is about how to get invoices paid basically, and how the select board actually needs to be involved with the bidding process, which is just making sure that the envelopes come here sealed and that they're opened publicly.
So what's the minimum balance, 18.5?
Oh, that was really.
Yeah, so that's the amount of money that would be coming from the town, assuming that the warning item passes tomorrow.
Okay.
That would be coming from the town to the community center anyway. And hopefully that won't need to be touched, but if there's, we're gonna populate, the community center will populate that account with funds to cover the invoices as they come in.
Perfect.
And it's a reimbursable.
That
So-
makes sense. I was just curious where it was coming and what it was doing.
Yeah, and that was just sort of a security balance that hopefully will still be in there in December
Yep.
when you would be paying the community center for that.
Yep.
The town appropriation anyway, so.
And the arrangement is, when I get the invoices, I pay them, I send them to, Emily, who processes the requisition from the state, and then it comes through the state treasurer's ACH process, which we do for all of our grants, most of our grants.
So why doesn't it just say that? Why doesn't it just say, they send it on that way if they wanna see it? There's a lot of crap. Why doesn't it just say, this, they're gonna submit our, they're gonna
So this part of it is just an arrangement between all of us so that we know what we're doing on the same page.
Right, and there's a bunch of crap in the back, and just too simple. We're gonna administer the grant for you, we're gonna keep this much in the thing.
Would you like to take something out? We can revise
No, well, there
this.
was a risk sharing, and I just put the language that Ron gave me for the dirt tech piece there, just to protect us.
Okay, as long as you've looked at it. I just like simple, the bigger it is, the more.
It's fairly simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote it, and I
No,
don't.
that's fine. That's
You're
fine.
anything but simple.
I'd rather ask and have somebody get mad at me for asking than not ask and not know, so.
Yeah, and I think it actually gets more complicated if you see how Kathy has to set it up to receive these monies. You know, it's a separate line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that Emily's involved with that process so that I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, that whole process is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So there is a contract, also not a contract, but an MOU with NRPC that I don't have with me today. I haven't read through it at all, so I just, before I brought it to you, I wanted to make sure that I read through it. And that will outline all of the things that the NRPC is doing for us, which is pretty much managing everything. Basically, I mean.
Yeah, doing all of the program management, so that's like managing federal regulations, Davis Bacon compliance would be good if I could say that word. Managing all of the procurement processes with the help of the community center, supported the environmental review process, and then also the grant management, so doing project progress reports, and also doing the requisitioning. So once we get those materials from the town, we'll put together the requisition as often as needed. It can be up to every 2 weeks. So all of that is covered within that administrative services program management agreement contract.
So I guess, would the select board like to sign this document tonight, or do you think we should revise it? And also, what's your pleasure with the policy discussion at this point? How would you like to move forward with that?
So take on that, will you, Gavin?
It just seems like we get into more BS every time we deal with stuff,
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote no just on principle. So you guys vote what you want, and there's no hard feelings here. I'm just like, I'm tired of this. Every time something comes up, they throw something more in it on us, and then it's more paperwork, and then more legal obligation for the town in the end. And it may be part of the game, and it may be part of the game to get the money, so.
No,
But just on principle, I'm gonna vote no on it.
Ron?
Well, I think if you're gonna get the grant money, you need to follow policies, cause if you don't,
Right.
you could end up paying that money back. And, we don't wanna go down the road and next year they check our policies and all of a sudden we gotta pay money back. So we need to follow the rules or we just don't accept the grant.
And I just wanna make sure we do it, so we don't do this same crap again next year for it. This goes in our policy manual book, we're gonna organize this crap, and no more of this, sign something quick at a meeting just to sign it. No offense, Emily, but to make Emily happy, and not have it next year when Emily comes back.
Well, if we don't discuss it, we're not gonna know what we're talking about.
Right.
So it's-
So we need to have this, there should be a document on this desk, so we can open it at any meeting and say, this is where we're at, this is what we've said in the past. No more trying to remember, just clear.
Agreed.
So this is federal and Vermont?
What's the status, this is a, CDB, so the Community Housing and
Yeah, so
Development Program, which is from the federal government through, the Housing and Urban Development Department.
Right, but
And
we
then
want one set of
state-
policies that meets state,
That's
federal.
federal and there's a
Yeah,
state
it's a pass-through
arm.
grant. So from the federal government, pass through the state to local municipalities.
Right,
So-
but we wanna be prepared, not for you, but for any grant that comes through, we've done this, we have the policies in place
Like the
to
ARPA
address,
funds.
yep, cause we're gonna need it for the ARPA, so.
So would there be a motion to would you like me to start drafting these, or do you want to make a motion to that effect?
So let's,
How do you want?
Tom, look at the MOU, let's get that. An MOU, I'm fine with, it's what we agreed upon last year when we said you guys could apply for the grant. It's no big deal, that's,
Okay.
submit your bills, give us the money from the grant and we'll pay your bills.
Right.
Right? Okay?
And then next meeting, I will have an agreement for a similar agreement, MOU, for the NRPC piece of it. So they also take on a big fat chunk of all of the work that goes along with this administrative work. So that'll be something you'll be reviewing next week.
So do we need to take a vote on this?
No, we approved it when we applied for the grant, so.
We just
Just
direct me to sign it and then we'll do that, or you can sign it however you want.
Then when do you need the policies by, Emily?
So once the grant agreement is signed, usually it would be good to have them done pretty soon after that. That'll probably be, so I would say maybe a month, a couple, it would be great to have them, but.
That's fine, I just wanna get organized and make sure we have our ducks in a row when we put them together.
Yeah, if it takes longer to do it with good governance, then that is fine. I think as long as we can get them in time for, like I said, that letter of opinion usually is required after the grant agreement. It's helpful to have proof of those.
Okay. So next meeting, we're not gonna deal with it tonight, we got enough crap on the agenda.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can you bring just the example stuff or send it out and Ron and I and take a look at it?
Yeah, I wouldn't just copy and paste, cause
Yeah,
we can really simplify it, I'm sure, a lot of these policies.
Well, so most of it was written in the document that Emily sent me.
Yeah.
And it was they were complicated MOUs. Policies, but you know we could start there, and I could work on it from there.
Okay. Anything else, Julie or Emily? Let me do room, but we're gonna keep moving.
One thought I had is I don't know if it would be helpful to the select board to have a point person that I could contact. I mean, if there's questions or if there's some communication that needs to be done to the whole board, besides Kathy, someone.
I mean, you're welcome to reach out to any of us, but.
Yeah, but I mean, one singular person maybe that would.
You drive by every day, we'll stop and check it out.
It just might be helpful, for me, so that I don't have to always go through Kathy to get an opinion. If anyone wants to.
Tried, and not always in cell phone service, but yeah, I go by every morning.
Okay,
Leave me a message and I'll stop, meet you there or something.
okay, that'd be great, Tom, thanks.
You can get his number tomorrow if you don't have it, so.
Okay. I'll give it to you.
Any other questions for Emily before she goes? Emily, did you want to stick around for the rest of this dynamic meeting, or?
Unless there's any other questions, I'll head out. Thank you for taking our time. I know this is a really busy meeting, so thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Thanks, Emily.
Bye. So that means there's nobody else in Zoom. I'm gonna end this.
Top is barn, middle is cell phone.
And the reason I'm doing this is because Tyler connected with me. And he said that his family has a medical emergency and is not able to be here, but I do have information about our next item, which is the Reggiano bidding. I included the email that he sent me and his paperwork, his chart of comparisons. It's paper clipped, so
You're welcome.
you can see that. So he said that basically St. Ange is a good bid. He says that there are some differences across the board. nothing significant enough to make a major difference in the results. And, he said, you know, if you have any questions for him, he would be happy to review them.
I'll make a motion, we accept St. Ange's bid.
I'll
Did you wear-
second that.
I'll approve that.
In favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, thank you.
Couple of questions from CCS.
They're always
They
gonna
wanted
set
to-
a clock later.
Because they didn't do a certain thing.
Yeah.
So they don't do that. You know, they didn't have the quality of gravel.
Julie.
That's why
Yeah,
their
so-
bid was so high. They said that makes you liable then if they,
Yep,
Yeah,
so they said they don't put that in the bids, you know. St. Anne's had the same paperwork, so.
is that why the bid on the material was higher than what Luciano originally put in there?
Probably.
Because of the cost of the material, I'm sure.
there were some estimates they were all over the board on, so.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that has come up this last week, just so you know, the two other bidders wanted to know the quantities that Ruggiano had on his original specs, so they would like to see that information. I figured they
Do we
might as well.
need, if we've made a motion and it's gone through,
We might as well just do it.
we're done. Not in my
They all
mind.
had they all had the same information, so.
Yeah.
Why would they be looking for that information? They should already have it.
They don't have it. It actually came, the engineering report, the engineering that Tyler didn't have the quantities in it. So all of the bidding didn't have his engineering had the quantities, but the bids didn't have, he didn't give that to the bidders. He expected them to come up with those numbers, and his answer, when I asked why, was, because like what Tom was saying, it's a liability thing. He never puts the quantities in there so that the bidders can
But
stay.
they all have the
with
same
me.
information.
Right, so everybody had the same, that's what I said when she called me, I said.
Yeah.
Everybody had the same information, so.
Yeah.
They just, you know, didn't get the bid and they wanted another way to rebid again.
Yeah, no, they all have the same information.
Okay, so, I do have a couple items, but I don't wanna keep, I don't know if you wanna come up and talk.
You keep on going, you don't do it.
Oh,
Mo, you're
Go ahead. Yes,
Or
we're gonna be-
Linda, cause she's gotta be
Or
here
Linda.
at
Well,
7
Morris-
o'clock in the morning.
If it snows tomorrow, he's gotta be, so, but I think we all are, cause I have to get
So,
something done.
me go?
Most of them
Okay.
have.
So,
Couple of things.
before the mask police call anybody tomorrow, we don't have a mask policy, so we don't have to wear masks tomorrow. And people don't have to wear masks, and I checked with the Secretary of State office on that, because frankly, for myself, I made it to tomorrow without being sick, so I've had enough, other than respect for people that need masks, but so, in case anybody brings up the lack of masking in the office, in the polling place tomorrow, you don't have a policy, so we're good. I did check with the Secretary of State's office also, because 4 out of the 5 select board members are on the ballots, but they're running unopposed, so they're fine to come in and count at night, which leads me to counting. Bring a friend, the more the merrier. 2 people have to go to St. Albans with the ballots for the school, so 2 people right off the bat aren't going to be able to stay here and count, so goes fast when we have plenty of people, and yes, I'll be here, before 7 and love to be out of here by 8:30 tomorrow night, so the more the merrier. So, on to the minutes of the last meeting. I printed them off Friday, and I was quite concerned. Item 19 says tax map update. MM says FYI, Stephen True is back in town and is a cartographer who specializes in digital mapping. And I didn't know we had anything going on with our parcel maps. I thought we were good with CAI. So I mentioned it to Melissa because she and I were actually at the same place the other day, and I said, hey, what does that mean? Why were you mentioning parcel maps? And she said, well, CAI has upped their price. Well, I did a report today, and CAI's price has been the same. It went,
So that was driven by a month ago when I was reviewing bills. I was thinking we were seeing CAI every couple of weeks.
no, what happens is we get billed once a year for support and once a year for the maintenance. And it actually happened to be in the same 2 months. We actually, had been level up until, for the last 3 years, we're up $125. That's it, so,
It was more of me looking at numbers and
Okay.
saying,
so.
what is this? And that just happened to be a random offshoot of the conversation.
And so,
I do have the contract for that if you wanna review it.
so I
And we should sign it.
actually touched base with Franco today because he's been my go-to person. And cause after Melissa had informed me of stuff, because I leave after and I'm the one that
As long as you leave
deals,
dessert, that's great.
I'm the one that deals with CAI, I'm the one that gives them the information for the updates, I'm the one to make sure the updates are done.
I was looking at it because 2 months in a row, there was a big bill that I didn't
Yeah,
know.
so,
And if that happens every month, that's a number to look at.
and it
Other
is,
than that, it's done.
But-
Kathy gave me the. we're
so
good.
I was blindsided by it,
No, there was
so,
nothing, we
so-
realized it was a twice a year bill. There's
Okay.
no further discussion, otherwise I would've given you crap.
okay.
How's that?
So that's good. So anyway, I did reach out to Franco today after my Melissa's discussion, and he called me back and he said that it was requested that he comes to the next meeting.
No, actually, I called him to ask questions because I wanted information as per our conversation, and he explained to me everything you just said because I hadn't been informed about all of the ways in which they function with us. So, and he said if you ever want him to come next month, the next select board meeting, they are available. So that was an offer, but not a
It was just
requirement.
Okay.
a
No, but
high
I'm
number.
just making sure that
No, if
he
there was a
doesn't need to
question, I would've
spend
gone.
$200 in gas to come for $125 ice.
No, it was just 2 months in a row that a big
Yeah.
bill came up. and
Yeah.
if
But it
had
just,
been-
you can see where I'm the one that deals with this. I see it in
would've
the
asked you
minutes.
if I thought it was a
How
problem.
does the Vermont mapping, do you deal with them at all too,
Where do you think Vermont gets their information?
from here?
From our mapping, yeah. Vermont doesn't have their own
So do we
mapping.
charge them or what?
Yeah. No,
Don't submit it to them then.
we don't submit it, they get it from the parcel mappers themselves.
They grab it.
They grab it.
Reach right out and grab
So
it.
they grab it
don't
from
get
the CIA?
Yeah, our stuff, you can go online and see it.
I know, I do all the
Yeah,
time.
so
Yeah.
it's public, it's not private, but
Right.
that's where the state gets the updates, so.
So each town pays so the state can use the information, is that it basically?
Right, but when this first came about, when Amanda first started with this, the state was going to force everybody to do parcel maps anyway. And, so, yeah, so it's been, this, a long process of
So you don't
getting.
have to do Vermont, they take that from here, from the Vermont parcel mapping.
Yeah, Vermont gets their information from our stuff, yes. But I am the one, part of my job is keeping everything up to date. So anytime there's a subdivision, parcel transfers,
Right.
you subdivide, you sell one of your lots on the pond.
Yeah.
Instead of if you see an E in front of it because it's leased, then it'll be a sub parcel of your parcel. So there's a whole formula
Yeah.
that has to be done and so
No, I understand.
typically every year, the surveys I take down to cross anything that comes in each year. Cause April 1st is who's the owner April 1st, so anything that comes in from,
Right.
April 1st around, take down to cross, they scan it. I email it to CAI with all my updates and my notes and everything to make it highlighted map saying this went to here and that's how that process whole works.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah, so they told me that they forwarded to the state of Vermont, and that's how it ends up on that map that I showed you, which you were asking about the hydrologically connected parcels of road. And you can actually, there's a layer that's about
I did
parcel.
dig in on, that's pretty interesting.
It is
It
interesting.
is complicated.
It is complicated,
Yeah.
but that's sort of that's one of the many maps that they use this information from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
this company.
So that's all I got, other than all hands on deck, 7 o'clock, bring a friend,
So we
taking
do,
care of their knots.
we do have this contract with them that we sign every year. That it came, so if you want to continue this arrangement, then we would
Is
sign
there
this
other
again.
companies that do it, or is this the main beast right here?
Well, this is the company we've had right
Right,
along.
Are they the
the
kind
last
of the
page
main
on
one
that.
used within the state?
Well, I know Swanton has the same company, because I can switch around Swanton, I think St. Albans Town. Quite a few towns have them, but when
Especially one surrounding Fairfield?
Sheldon actually had Jarvis do it, and nobody's updated it in years, so there's, you know.
They told me that they have 150 towns in the Vermont that they manage this for.
And, you know, Amanda did a big search when she took them on, and it's one of those things that we have a good relationship with. You know, if you want it, bids for future years, but, you know, we got a good working rapport going with them and
Well,
good system.
how long have we been doing it with them?
2015 is when we got them.
And this increase is $120?
125 that happened.
5 years or 6 years?
Well, there's been little increments, but the last prior 3 years were level, and this one was up.
Does it get based on number of transfers or
Well,
that kind
it
of
does. The maintenance is what will change.
Yeah.
And also, people still are coming in, Gavin, and saying, oh, that, you know, it's really shaped like this, it's not shaped like that. So there are
adjustments and
adjustments. But yeah, there's subdivisions, transfers. I don't know what the price per whatever is. But they, it is
It's actually within the contract, so the tax map maintenance contract is $2,675. And that's the service that supports, that provides it to Vermont and the harvest grown. And then the second service is to actually have the platform on our website. And having that platform is an additional $2,400.
the 2,400 has stayed level the whole time.
Yeah.
It's the maintenance that has differed.
That's not here, where's it?
But they also.
The other one is not a contract.
They also are quick to call me back, which is good, and, you know, getting things, I mean, it's like everything else, when you go with a system like this, it's usually cheaper to stay with the system in place than it is to start moving stuff.
They're good, they're up to date, they're responsive.
Yes, yeah. And they understand me when I talk because, you know, these are techies. Which is always good.
So if we didn't have that, how would Vermont get their information on their parcel page?
Now, there was something about towns having to be required to do this at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how that ever went through because there's some towns out there that are pretty poor, so I don't know how that all worked out.
Did you want to see the contract?
But anyway,
Make sure we're just getting our money's worth what we're paid. Yeah.
So the last page, I don't know if you wanna, I don't know who you want, if you want me to sign it, or if you want, how does that work?
What is it looking for?
They're just looking for a signature that we accept the contract for another year.
Who usually signs it?
what's it say?
It says, the parties here to have executed this agreement.
Usually probably Tom, and it used to be probably Amanda, but now it would be Kathy. I mean, I think you've used it before, people have
I
come
use it
in
all the
and,
time.
and so it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it was Bulldukes on the other side, they were all messed up and they went through and Demetrius went through and fixed all that. I said, I know these camps are out of order here.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty accurate from what I've seen.
Yeah. So, it's a nice tool, I use it too, and Melanie in zoning uses it a lot to you know, looking at places to do compliance and everything, so it's, quite handy to have, actually.
I used to say, what's that can? And I'll go look.
Tool around your bolt rod, get your computer on.
Yeah, so,
But the Vermont one, it's not correct. A lot of that stuff is not.
well,
Even
and
in Fairfield.
it's a case like 911, people call all the time and say, FedEx won't come to my house, or Amazon won't come to
Right.
my house, but it's because those companies don't pay to have the information updated. So us, everything's proper. I'll look and see it's on our 911 map. It's not something we can do. And people get mad. Well, they can't deliver because they can't find us. It's their software that they're not paying to have updated.
Yeah.
FedEx
No,
is
I've done that
on the
route too,
road,
is use that software for that. You know, we
Yeah.
just did it the other day with Melissa's camp. I forgot what it is. Something, I think it was 52 Bocas Road or something, but you can find out all that information.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so that, you know, I'm happy with them.
Do you want a couple extra counters tomorrow?
I could use as many counters that we get because, you know, the faster to go.
What time do you want us to?
Counters, 7 o'clock, because we can't do anything before 7 o'clock, but but you know, they gotta be able to carry their knots.
Excuse me.
Good night, thank you.
Good night,
See you
thank
later.
you.
Thank you.
Morris?
Kathy mentioned that when Mr. Van last week, you guys talked about his garage doors. What do you guys decide to do? I remember we had a proposal, to change two of them,
Move the panels around, right?
change the windows, the good ones, to the bottoms of the better ones, and then replacement all 7, another proposal.
Seems like am I mistaken, weren't we in agreement, we were gonna change 2 of the panels on each door?
Didn't we talk about ordering the doors last week?
We talked about it, I don't know if we approved it, but is that
Yeah.
ARPA approved now, or?
We can use ARPA funds to do that. I would request that you not spend the money until I think it's March 15th. They have all of the reporting for the whole year. Any money that we have expended has to be reported on March 15th. So any expenditures after that, we go into another year. So it would make more sense for us to put them all in
Well,
this.
you're not gonna have to prepay for the doors, are we?
Right,
No.
no.
It won't come until 6 months at least.
We got on our
But it is
minutes,
approvable.
on our minutes in the last meeting, it says order the doors to town road.
Oh, we did say that, yeah, it surprised me.
Well, I think we talked, not to do, you know, I think we talked about doing the 2 bottom panels are worse than all the doors, right?
Yeah, what they was gonna do, Tom, was replace 2 doors, and take those panels.
Right.
To fix the
upper
other.
ones, and put those on the bottom of the other remaining doors.
Yeah.
2.
So put 2 new doors in. You make use of upper panels and the doors they take out to fix the bottom of the rest of the doors. Am I right on that?
Yeah,
Yes.
So is it what, 2 doors worse than the other ones?
yeah, where the loader goes and each side of the office goes in 550 small truck trailer.
So and this is our fault, we weren't super clear, right? We said order the doors.
Yeah.
Okay,
So order 2 doors.
Order 2 doors and use the panels from the old doors to fix the remaining doors, so I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll second that.
So let's clarify what we talked about last month. We'll replace, Mo's gonna order 2 brand new doors,
Yeah, 2 doors.
overhead doors for the garage.
Each side, left and right of the office.
And fix,
And then
use those panels to fix
Right.
the other
labor to
doors.
fix the other
Yep.
door bottoms.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good.
don't have anything else, Morris?
Yeah, he's writing, give him a minute.
Oh. While he's writing, Morris said that the bridge weight for Parity Bridge was still 12,000 pounds?
Yep.
I thought we changed that last year after it got fixed. Am I wrong?
We brought it up to the 12, it was,
It was only 6,
six
wasn't it?
before.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm remembering. And
Yeah.
also, Mo, there's no signage on either side of that bridge. Either someone stole it, or it came down, or whatever, but I checked on Saturday when I did mail. There's no signs on it, it's not posted. It has to be posted.
It's posted when you turn on the Perry Road.
It has to be on either side of the bridge. The posts are there,
Yeah, yeah,
but the signs aren't there.
yeah. So those-
So you'll have to order signs.
You turn off the North Road, there's a sign there that says 12,000 pounds.
I think the rule says,
Yeah, it probably does, I mean, it's good to forewarn them at the
Hold
main
on.
highway, but then
Right.
put one each side of the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
let me look.
Oh, that makes sense, all that they, where they get that from, realize it.
Get the 18-wheeler down there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
totally.
everybody looking?
That's a hard back it. Yeah, I probably would have done.
Then there's people that, even though they're posted, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't say right here. I thought it did.
That'd be a good idea to have each side.
Yeah, there's a couple signs.
Since the posts are there. For
Especially if a truck drops through it, the signs are there.
Yeah,
Who's your insurance agent?
yeah.
Anything else, Morris? Oh, you're still,
Yeah, it's just scribble. No, not really. It's-
I can say that the truck, we did send in that form to lock into the truck as you requested, but I also called up People's Trust to get information on notes. If we put down 50,000, which is I believe what the conversation was, a 5-year term would be a 2.5% rate and an annual premium of $22,708. And a 3-year term would be 2.25% and an annual payment of $36,813.
What was the amount of money left over at the end of the year, the fund balance?
So the equipment fund is currently at $62,000. What was that?
No, I'm at total fund,
33,000 left over.
total fund for the town.
So you mean the carryover? The
Yes.
surplus is $33,007. So if 50,000 came out, it would leave 12,000, and then if we put the 33,000 in there, it would go up to 45,000.
What did you do on the last truck? What, how many years?
There was a 5-year in it and a
5
3-year
years.
We
term.
put quite a bit on that last truck though, didn't we? 100 and something.
125,000.
Put a big chunk on it last time.
Yeah, big chunk. Cause I think what happened there was some reimbursement from FEMA or one of them came.
Yes, there was an oddball check that came in at the end of the year,
And we
reimbursement.
took the money and we just put it towards the truck.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and that's why, I believe it was a FEMA payment reimbursement bill.
On, Swamp Road Bridge.
Yep, and we got that, and we said we're putting it right back in one of those trucks, cause we really wanna get rid of those internationals before they died.
When will we need to know?
Well, you put the order in. I don't know how long it'll take to get an invoice, but
It'll be
You won't get
invoiced until
invoiced when the
delivery.
truck shows up in,
Yeah, we had this
Filter.
discussion last time, we don't
July.
pay until we have a truck in our
yeah,
yard,
okay.
so. But that would have been for a couple months,
Okay.
it'll be a while.
Late
accumulate,
July is guaranteed.
accumulate,
and then,
accumulate some more money.
you know,
Interest rates going up.
I don't know if
Wise
we-
to
did
do,
we- we talked about putting the clause, right? They didn't come with penalty. Although some of it's not his fault. So.
I think this year if you get a truck, you're lucky. You know, I think that's the trouble with it.
So your practice is usually just to wait until the truck is here, get the
Well, unless we
invoice,
saw
and then
interest rates
reach out.
going nuts, but the state has that program of 2 or 2.5% interest. We haven't used that in quite a while.
Well, we could get it cheaper from the bank.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
then we could from the
2.2.
state. They had a program for a while where if you bought through the state.
Yeah.
I believe it was 2.5, but I'm not certain of that, or 2%. It was cheaper to go through people's trust at the time. That's why we couldn't use that program.
Yeah, I'm just worried, thinking about rates going higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, then
We
3
should
months.
talk to that Sandy sometime, just say, when, you know, they were talking July, if I remember right. And they've got a slot with, the box and the plows and all that, locked in for some other time.
Given the way things are, I don't expect, if we were gonna see it in 2 months, yeah, okay, let's play the insurance or
I
the
bet it-
interest rate thing, but I wouldn't take a loan out now and think we're gonna have it in June.
Yeah, I mean, who'd you talk to, Sue Cross?
Yeah, Sue Cross.
I mean,
And she's good with waiting.
well,
I
I'm just saying,
yeah,
you could ask her how good, you know.
How long is
How
rate?
long that rate is good for,
I can do that.
you know, like,
I can do that.
it's,
Maybe.
things aren't changing very much, so that I would think it would be, she could hold it for 2 or 3 months, but maybe she can't, I don't know. If not, there's other ways.
Not long in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I doubt if they do that.
Check on the interest rate. and
How long I can, okay, I'll bring it back and let you know.
Any other excitement, Mom? Your sand's starting to disappear in the shed.
Yeah. We shouldn't have to draw on hands, or have any draw.
I told your employees they need to quit using so much, making the state of Vermont look bad. Can't pass on 36, but you can pass the wall in town roads. I said, that's just not right.
So I was talking to Mo, we do have every year the municipality, the agency of the transportation asks us to fill out compliance forms. And they did come and, it's my first time around this circus, so when it comes to compliance forms with roads, and I looked to see what we've done in the past, and Jonathan said that we do this every year, so I brought them with us. One is a certificate of highway mileage, year ending 2022, that we're gonna have to, actually, year ending 2021, it should say. So that is just, did we have any changes in roads? Did we have new highways? Did we discontinue any roads?
Same report we do every year.
Yeah, if we discontinued any roads or anything, it's the same. So there's a box that we can check and just sign on that one. Certificate of compliance for town road and bridge standards network inventory. This one requests that you sign. I did put in the back of your packet, there's a thing that explains what the compliance standards are from the Orange Book. So the structures program and what we need to do. I don't know how you handle that every year, but I thought I'd give it to you just in case you wanted to review it. And then the town roads and bridge standards, municipality of Fairfield. This one is a little more complicated. It's you don't have to sign this one. It's asking us if we have met the road and bridge standards in multiple areas, perennial stream bridge culvert standards, intermittent stream crossings, roadways. And it goes back to sort of what you were saying. Do we have a practice? Is there a piece of paper that we look at every year?
We haven't signed that one in the past, I don't believe.
I don't think so either. I
So
didn't find
wouldn't
it.
bother passing to signing this one either.
Okay. So not that one. That's fine.
No bueno.
But this one, we have to, it's the certification of
I believe we sign that
compliance.
each year along with the mileage of road.
Yeah, so that one.
Right, Tom?
we can sign.
We've signed that one each year with the certification of the road mileage.
Right.
Plus the.
Yeah, we'll have to change.
I'm not sure why
We
this
haven't
says year ending 2022. I think that they sent me the wrong form. So I'll bring that one back to you.
They always say 2022.
Do they?
Well, they always say,
The year that we're in?
yeah,
Okay.
this one is the same.
Oh, okay. So then I have this one for you to sign as well. And the other thing that came is the grant applications for paving and other things, which they're due in April, so we have to, I'm meeting with Bethany, we have to make an appointment to meet with Bethany and prioritize our roads based on the inventory, and I'll come back with some suggestions from that meeting, but I'm sure you also have suggestions for what we wanna do. I think, Mo, you said paving would be on, what did you say you wanted
That's, I call it 2-for-1 grant, Cheshire Arthur.
Chester Avenue?
So that's the one we tried to get last year, Mo?
Yes.
We could resubmit the same application. Let's see what happens.
Are you doing Mill Street? No?
So we got our regular paving money. That's where I've done the heading.
Here's another one.
There was money left over in paving budget.
Last year,
A little bit.
20,000.
So, Mo, is there anything else you think of?
Just,
You wanna talk about road signs while Mo's here?
Yep.
So Sheldon, Enosburg Village, Bakersfield, St. Albans Town, everyone installs the signage. Sheldon, Enosburg, and St. Albans, Sheldon and Enosburg Village pay for the signage. Enosburg Town, Bakersfield, and St. Albans Town, the residents pay. Kathy found a policy that was created in 2014 that says the town of Fairfield reserves the right to give final approval on all new private road names. Once the road is approved, the town will order the signs and post to ensure compliance with state laws. The purchase cost will be paid by the individual to the town of Fairfield. The signs and posts will not be released until payment is made and the town designee instructs placement. This says individuals will be responsible for installing the signs. Maintenance and replacing the sign is also the individual's responsibility.
And that is in place already?
It was signed in 2014.
So it's done.
That says the individual will place it.
Yes, which is a risk. Everyone else installs it.
What do you think, Mo? You have to deal with
I think, didn't we talk, they buy it, we'll install it, then it's installed right with the right posts and
With the correct post,
them?
yes.
With a breakaway
Ah.
post, right?
That's what it says right here.
That's what-
you got on paper again?
No, they install it, I mean,
Oh,
they
that's
could,
what it says.
yeah, on that one. We could just amend it, that's all, right?
Would you like to do that?
I think I would, I mean, that's just my opinion, just so it'd be on the
Stay in the
post,
town.
the post, post would be breakaway.
It has to be a breakaway post.
Yeah, and then it would
It
be.
says that we'll order it to make sure
Right.
that it's in compliance.
Well,
But this says that they install.
We'll install it,
So you wanna amend this?
that's just my thought.
No, I can't say I disagree. We install it and then if it gets broken, we replace it, they get billed for it. Is that how it goes?
On a private road, yeah.
I make a motion to amend the sign policy to say that the town will install
With a
the
proper
signs,
post.
proper posts.
Or,
You got the whole first part of it, we leave the same. This is just amending installation.
Right, that is, installed with, standard, what is it,
Yeah,
standard.
And that's why we're gonna, it already says we'll order the sign posts, so Mo's gonna order the breakaway posts and the reflective sign. It
Okay.
won't be a big pumpkin shape.
So, we got one on,
There's three.
Gilbert Hill, Gilbert Hill. It will be, Summer Lane, that's where,
Yeah, there's 3. Summer Lane, I forgot about Summer Lane, yeah.
That's where,
So, thank you.
boy lives there.
Sam,
Frog Hollow.
Kevin,
There's 3 houses there now?
Yes.
So on that case, they're gonna have to pay for all that, that's what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna pay for the stuff, we'll order it, install it,
So,
and then if it breaks,
they have to maintain it.
they have to, you know, we'll install it, but they'll have to pay for the sign and the post again. They have to pay for the maintenance, cause it's a private road.
Here's 4 that need ordering.
And that's another deal, we don't release them till they pay for them,
That's what it says on here.
just so we all know that.
So, the other possibility is, we could just add it to the permit fees. Nobody else does that, they all just make them pay for it.
Yeah, let's just leave it, I'd say as is,
Okay,
cause then the second time it goes, if something happens,
yeah,
they're not gonna come
exactly,
back to the zoning and planning board.
exactly. Alright, I'll let her know.
So can you, where are all those policies and crap like that? 'Cause
Right now,
that's-
they're in a binder on my desk, and I'm going to put them back, and they
Every-
should be right in the front office.
Well, that's what I'm saying, this is
I
the
found it.
issue. We should have pulled that out the
I
other
found
day.
it in
and said-
somebody's office,
That
so
should that be on like a website?
it should be on.
Let's get everything into a binder.
It's in a binder. It was
organized.
taken off the shelf in the front, and I found it underneath a bunch of piles in an office. So
We can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
There's too-
I
the
agree.
whole world is a bunch of paperwork bullshit. Put them in a binder, let's get them organized, and then we'll just send it on. If we get excited, we put them where somebody wants to see how we operate, here it is, but. So we gotta amend that and sign that at the next meeting? Is that?
No, we can amend it right now, you made a motion,
You already
seconded
amended it.
right? So if we take a vote on it, we all in agreement with this amended policy, and it's done.
Good.
I can put something, like staple something to it that says amended.
We took a vote on it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
As
all.
per minutes from this meeting.
I mean, all you do is just, you can print up a new one and.
That's what I mean, I just want it printed up and put in the binder, so when we
Yeah.
dig this out.
I wouldn't put any
That's right.
sticky note on that one, I would just make a new one with the correct writing
And then you sign it. at the
and
next
the
meeting.
date. So it's amended, as amended on February 28th.
Perfect.
The only other road-related thing that I have is that Vicky and Keith Berry, who are the people, one of the residents outside on the outskirts of the Jouer Road Bridge, would like before they sign an easement, they really want to have a conversation and a walk around of what exactly it's going to entail.
I was surprised to hear that there's no easement yet.
Yeah, me too. I was surprised too.
How do you start a project?
So I thought that
Last summer or
happened.
last fall, it was supposed to be
I
all
thought that
completed.
happened last summer too. So I saw that it wasn't in our files. I picked it up and sent it out, and each of the entities has that now.
Wouldn't that have been the engineers?
Like I said, that's not your problem, that's not your job, that's
Yeah.
Ruggiani.
Yeah, he's the one
So
that should have.
he needs to talk. I should ask him to go and have a conversation with these folks because.
Well, you should have all the easement signed before you can set that out to bid, how can you?
I would think so.
It seems like that would be a good
So
thing.
are the other easements in place?
None of them are. I thought that they were done last summer or
So
something.
who had been working on them? Was it?
It was Jonathan was working, he had the original conversations and he was working on them, and when he started on, he told me that they were in process, and then I found out that we didn't have anything from the lawyer. We didn't have anything signed from them, so I picked it up and got to the lawyer and sent it out and just got a response. So they're informed of the project, they all were aware of the project, but they hadn't signed anything. So we have to backtrack on this one, and Keith and Vicky are they just wanna, because they're the property that's gonna have the diversion bridge,
Temporary.
the temporary bridge, so they would just wanna know exactly what trees are you cutting down, you know, where is it specifically gonna be, so that they said that they may have a request before they sign anything.
They go down that far, they have more than just their lot, then they must have,
Goes right to the brook.
Goes right to the brook.
so they have more than just, they have all that whole pasture that.
Yeah, that whole pasture
Kind of
goes in
far.
there, yeah, pretty much Sid's old place.
Yeah.
We don't know, we probably don't even have the break for the people to go on and check for archaeological studies.
So we have to, like I said, we have to get on this, and, so would Tyler and one of you go down, would I go down with him, how does that, how have you done this in the past, when there's an easement conversation?
What did our RFP say? Anybody remember, is that our
To the
easements? Yeah. That's the first thing I'm gonna look at.
Yeah.
Cause
We've never gone with any of the other ones, it's always the engineer that did.
that's,
And I don't, the town, Amanda never went out and did all that, it was always the engineer, they went and got all the easements.
I'll call Tyler.
pull out the RFP first. Tomorrow morning or tomorrow day, we're all gonna be in here at some point. I wanna see if that was his job or not. If Jonathan pulled it out and said, I'll do this, this is.
Right, I just wondered about
Yep,
that.
if that's something, that's fine, and that's something that got dropped in the transfer.
Yeah.
Considering how many things went well, okay, we'll deal with that. But if our RFP said design the project, obtain the easements, I will go visit Tyler. I'll drive to Stowe and visit him, cause.
Does he operate out of here much, or is he more Stowe?
A couple days a week at the best, but. No. Please pull the RFP.
I will
Let
do
us look at it tomorrow and
Okay.
we can go from there.
You surely wanna get the easements before you give St. Hans a go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
call
I agree. Okay. There is a request from, Northwest Fiberworks, which is the communications union district that I'm sitting on. They have their first, bunch of fiber that's gonna be coming into our municipalities, and I included this with your packet, but they they would really like to see if we can house them for this area for the projects that are in Fairfield. And they're trying to keep their costs down basically, so that they don't have to rent out space in order to do that. And they have all of the specs here for how much space.
Did you see that?
No, this,
They wanna dump a bunch of reels of cable. Was it 48 reels?
33 reels with 48 count and 3 reels, so 36.
Yeah. Do you have room enough for them to dump cable in your yard, and do you wanna deal with driving around it?
When are they gonna be putting this stuff up?
so
Do we drive around
It's
it
this
one summer?
year.
Well, that's what I mean.
their goal, and they're pretty solid in terms of their structure right now and their partners. Their goal is to have this done by the end of the year. So that's their goal.
So where are they going in Fairfield with this? The whole town, or just
They
parts
want
of it?
to create capacity in the entire town and all of the other neighboring towns. So they're getting everybody trained and up to speed right now. They have their plan in place. They're ordering, their first delivery is gonna be in July. They're working into the fall. I guess they're gonna be late. So the
So will
last
they be
time,
going up 36 with it?
it would be, they want to connect everybody who has not been connected to the internet, through the internet. That's their goal. It's free, open access internet.
Yeah, 'cause I was thinking, we're on consolidated, but it's junk. About as slow as it could go, and still come up.
They're gonna run fiber, so that'll make a big, huge difference.
Right, cause the guy that bought Mom's house told me they ran fiber optic as far as the Stone House place already.
So
Those
the-
new poles. I don't know anything about it, so I'm just trying to.
So they're picking up where everything left off and getting everybody else connected.
Do we
That's their
have, do we
goal.
have any spot? Even maybe if it's not over there, or is it any other location, or? We got some open space, or it's,
Well, that's why I was wondering, is it gonna go, didn't they go with fiber optic down to Henry's already? To the silos for the cell tower? That's why I was wondering what parts of town, is there a map of where they plan on going, or is there any kind of?
I can ask that. I can go back and ask.
It'd be interesting to know exactly.
We got they said the arrival date is in July, so.
Yeah, so I guess that's maybe.
We can see, I mean.
Right, but they've gotta find a place to dump it, so they.
Yeah, I realize that, but I'm just wondering, we should look to see how, I know see how big they are, you might be able to put them out back of the.
they're good sized reels.
They're 5 foot by 4 foot.
And honestly, I think that they would be satisfied with anything that we could give them, if we could give them anything. My take is that.
36 rolls, you could almost put them.
Could you double them? Could you stack them like round bales?
I can ask.
I don't think they can be stacked, they have to be standing up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Till they generally back in, put the pipe through, and then they roll them off the back of their trucks. But I almost think there's probably room out back, right? On the side there.
Yeah, way towards this end.
Yeah, what I'm wondering is, if they're that way, can the town stack them up, with a loader, with the forks? Or are they too heavy for that kind of stuff? So you wouldn't use up so much room if you didn't have space enough to. I'm just asking, I'm not.
Usually the cable, they don't like to lay them flat because the cable squashes itself.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So I can ask them, what the map of their layout
When
is.
will they be delivering that? Pretty good.
It would be, they're looking at the first delivery, or maybe the first
July.
delivery is in July.
36 reels.
They are
in
big
July.
and they are heavy.
They weigh 1,200 pounds.
Yeah.
That does say 60 by 44.
So Mo, I'll give you a copy of this email that I got, and if you wanna take a look, and I will get to back to them and ask them where they're laying it out. And then they can come back to it if you want.
Why don't make more sense that Mo column?
Yeah.
It's up to you, it's up to Mo, right?
Right.
If you can work around and find a place to
Yeah,
stuff
I
them,
think we've
if, there's no,
ain't coming tomorrow.
no, yeah,
We could move some, we got some blocks set back there and stuff,
but it makes more sense to have you call them, cause you're just gonna play phone tag in between two
Yeah,
people.
that's true.
It's your yard, if you can find a place to stick it and it works, great.
Yeah, if you got blocks, you could put them towards the store, so they wouldn't roll down over somebody couldn't roll down over the bank, but that would
That'd
be,
be the key.
that'd be a good start.
Why can't you store them down in the metal, that acre metal wheel?
That's a good idea.
I know Ben Hayes it, but worst scenario, right? We own part of an acre there.
Can they access it though?
Not protected, I guess.
They're gonna have to drive in and.
Yeah.
All right.
The minute you'll lay them out there, it'll be dry, and then we'll get 6 inches of
We'll
rain.
get a hurricane go through. Well, let's work on when we get it, just plan on your yard, if you can do it, if you can't, you can't.
Okay. So I'll give you the contact information, Mom. So that's everything in terms of roads and things that need to be signed there. I did bring MOU lease agreement, facility agreement examples that you can look at if you wanna look at those at this meeting for the common school. They're drafts for you to look at. They include the information that the insurance company gave us that we needed to include, just as a, just as a suggestion. So there are things in there that you may or may not want in there. We can take those out. So I guess the question is, how would you like to proceed? That is also in this packet that I gave you.
Do we need a facilities agreement or do we just need an MOU?
So there are three different things that I heard. One is a facilities agreement, one is an MOU, and one was a lease. A lease is a legally binding document that gives people the right to do whatever they want with the property. A memorandum of understanding doesn't necessarily lay out the requirements of the space. So a facilities use agreement is the thing that doesn't give away your property, and it doesn't include like everything that you might want to do with an entity. It's just about the facility. So my suggestion is that you go with a facility use agreement, but I also included an example of what an MOU would look like. And you could do both if you wanted.
How many pages are these?
The facility use agreement is one page, actually back to back. And then I have one for the Historical Society, and the last page here is an MOU that's just about the purpose and scope of what the Recreation Committee would be doing. And that's not what you asked for. So that was one of the things that we were working on a while back when we were trying to figure out how money was going to be transferred back and forth between us and how they were going to, the fact that they need to fill a seat and those seats are vacant, but they don't have anything that states what they do. And so there were other things that were kind of mixed or mulling around at this conversation. And I put those all on an MOU that you may or may not want to use, and just separated out the terms of facility use, what that would look like, what they should probably do and not do, and then suggestions for how they provide oversight to their events at that space. There's a lot of details that I don't think we probably need, but
Is that in case you guys wanna look these over more and bring it back to the next meeting? And rather than try to do it all tonight?
I think it's, I think you're gonna end up with no recreation.
Yeah, this is,
Cause, you know, it's a small town, it isn't like St. Albans where you get a big recreation budget.
Right.
need a one page. You wanna use the building, you're gonna use the building, this is what you can and can't do.
I think that's why the
That's
MOU,
what-
the simple MOU is.
That's what I had, and that was not,
Right.
it didn't include a couple
Right,
bullets,
but
but we can fix
We
that.
don't need anything about, we're not telling them to elect a chairperson, that's in here. They get appointed every 2 years, that's how it is.
Okay, that would take
We
that.
don't tell them that they're gonna meet once a month.
So that's,
Part of the rec committee.
so I guess my question is,
I changed it.
when you look at the facility use agreement, I can chunk out as much out of there as you want, but this is,
I changed that.
you know, the user, for example, the user must gain prior approval from the select board to plan or execute any changes to the building.
Yes.
Number 2, no sign or temporary structure may be placed on the premises without obtaining advance approval. Up to you, that was a suggestion, it doesn't have to be there. The facility, its appearances and any equipment contained therein may not be injured, damaged, or marred. User is responsible for maintaining neat and tidy spaces, cleaning the facility after events, and deeper cleaning as needed. I mean, these are just sort of how do you, the care and keeping of the building. Use of the facility cannot create a nuisance or disturb the peace. I mean, these.
Let's everybody look over this option.
Okay. And
There's
if
been
you
way
want,
too much talk and
and if
nobody seems to all be on the same board.
yeah, so now you have 3 options to look through and to consider.
I think the least one is the least likely, right?
Yeah,
Just
this
listening.
is, I'm gonna come in next time with what we've talked about
Yeah.
and what I envision what we've talked about, what we've asked for. I'm done dealing with this. This is driving me
And
nuts.
try to keep this recreation
Yes.
bunch alive.
Yes.
And also, we make control of the building.
Yeah, I mean, just gonna make them let in.
Right, just
Are
so they're
they-
aware that, yeah, this is being monitored, guys, and gotta keep
And
it.
we're paying for the heat, fuel, and
Right.
electricity.
And this is very similar to any facility use agreement I've used in my 20 years working with public in the schools. So I'm coming from.
We asked for a simple one page, simple.
So all of the things, as you take this and look at it, you also asked me to consider what what the insurance company would suggest for language. So everything that's in italic were suggested by the insurance company. We can take those out if you'd like. Anything that is bold and underlined is is not current practice, and we don't have to have those things either. So these are suggestions as you're looking through. So, do you have any other suggestions or conversation about that?
Not tonight, I don't.
Okay. And I think that is it. We covered the signatures. So, yep. That's it for me tonight. I completed and sent the state the Vermont subrecipient annual report for federal expenditures, and am currently doing an annual risk exchange insurance premium audit of all of our payroll, so that they can make sure that what we said we were going to do is what we did in terms of liability. So that is due tomorrow, and I've been working on that one. And flags. There is a question in our community. We're not currently flying the Vermont or the MIA flags, and Amanda said that we used to. I've looked everywhere. I don't find them. I can't find them anywhere.
I'm sure they died.
They probably died.
Flag, we're done. Did we have that discussion last summer?
I gotta be honest, I don't recall. I remember we did have
We had
the state flag and then the MIA one beneath it for quite a while.
The discussion happened when somebody requested a Black Lives Matter flag.
Oh,
Yeah.
And you decided you wanted just to fly the American flag and nothing else.
We're not making political
Okay.
statements or.
Yeah,
anything,
Dick
just-
Corrigan made his way over, he said he saw it. And,
That took 2 hours
Yeah,
a day, didn't it? But you came back to the original question.
Back in, but oh my goodness, sweet guy. But he said that he gave options for getting them for free to us as well, so.
I can see the state of Vermont flag beneath the
Yeah.
federal one, but then shut it off, just so we don't get into the whole.
And say if you put the MIA, then you'd have to put the wounded warriors and then.
If you got just the two legal entities we live in, state of Vermont and the United States flag, right?
And the Vermont one wants to be smaller than the other one,
Yeah,
right?
the flag code.
It just has to fly under it.
Right, but also smaller. Doesn't
Okay.
want to be as big as that one.
So I could go ahead and get that from the, I guess we can get those from the Legion for free. Okay. That is everything on my list. We do have these warrants to sign. There's payroll in this one, and there is, AP in this one. Pretty small AP this time around, so, did you sign this one? No?
Yeah, I might as well let them make their loop.
If we're pretty much done,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go put air packs on for a while. Unless you need me,
Just the signings. That's
I'll look them over tomorrow.
Oh,
At some point.
okay. I don't think anybody else has signed them, so.
I like to spend a few minutes going through them.
What time is it?
I have a request of you. In order for me to close out the month end, I need to print checks tonight or tomorrow morning before 7:30. So, if you could return those signed by tomorrow, I would appreciate it, or.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that you
Oh, this
just
is just my job.
I thought you said that you were looking at it. I was like,
I'm gonna take all the
just taking the AP minutes.
He'll make
No. You'll have 3 signatures, so you can, you can.
Okay.
He'll make
Oh,
sure,
okay.
he'll make sure he can plow that pond road.
Oh, God. I was like, where is it going?
No, this is my job. No, don't ever let me take them out.
Oh, my God.
Because I'll lose them. The window will be open, and they'll end up out the door.
See me cross over, slowly across the field, and you're doing it.
Let this one sign. There you go.
Do it right by the wood pile so you get to it, can you?
Be like, what was it that time? Hold up. Maybe. Okay, so get my sense. You know, Fred's boy.
Huh?
Mark, we used to go out by, Wansley's up there.
Oh,
Being an asshole.
Alright, can't go, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you later.
Doing so.
So, I'm just gonna do the warrants in minutes.
Yeah.
Have the dog issue from.
Just
I've sent him a letter.
send him a little letter.
Haven't heard back yet.
No, I just sent him a letter, sent it to the property owner, the owner of the dog, and Tracy Hatter. The day that I sent it, he said, you know, did you do it yet? Cause their dog was at my house again last night. He's, you know, he's getting in touch with his
I drive by
lawyer.
there looking for that dog, I haven't seen it yet.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's a nocturnal dog.
We had trouble with the dog at the other place, Draper's.
Yeah.
2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, because they left it tied up outside all the time. And the across the road neighbor complained about it.
Cause it was tied up all the time.
Just tied up with no water, no
Yeah.
nothing, tied up, you know. Like, but it died. Oh, it was old. Oh.
I made a motion to accept the minutes, but I don't wanna get into discussion tonight on number 3, so maybe we can bring that up at another meeting. But other than that, I'd make a motion to accept them.
I'll second it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
So we just discuss that maybe at the next meeting.
Next meeting, I just want to.
Just put that in, on the agenda then.
What was anything?
Want to find out, but I'm not gonna get into it tonight. Is that number 3? Just bring it up in the next meeting. I got.
Thank you.
So that one more, you stuck out there, or are you using that on those? It's plain mix.
Yeah, it's, using on the roads.
To fill in potholes and
Yeah.
sinkholes and all that stuff.
Why do they call that plant mix, by the way?
Well, in mix, I don't know.
Is there?
5/8 is mixed with farm. Maybe I could have come up with that.
That's like over in Enosburg there where that water main broke and they fooled with that one. Looked good for about 10 minutes. Of course, that corner, everything turns on. Yeah, it didn't take that
Just
long.
like a roller coaster now.
Yep, didn't take long.
Just on the outbound lane.
Yep.
That's probably where they did most of the digging.
Oh, very,
Enosburg, where you come off on the.
105. Yeah.
Why would you got new policy there? About responding?
About the signs?
Give me, I don't know.
This is all.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
Just, where I can,
the names, yeah, yeah.
you know, I have to
absolutely.
explain it to them and just
Yeah.
show them how to do the policy.
Okay.
And we'll try to-
So when they keep still my Dream Lake sign, you're gonna, Dream Lake Road, I'm
We're
have
gonna
to pay
weld
for
it to
that.
that post
Oh,
up there.
man.
You're gonna have to, huh?
Well, then we got
You
other
just
ones
have to
got
paint it
last
on top
names.
of your,
Last name.
Certain names, they keep on taking them.
oh, yeah.
That's the worst though, they
Yeah.
keep stealing them.
You know what's that?
They haven't, I'm not understanding, because they haven't taken that rhino for a while.
What size helmets is
Oh, you take it, you get one of those kits with them all.
we took that one off at here. Yeah.
The one off, which end?
This one. I
On
had
36?
Again?
Yeah, I had an old one. You should notice it's just on the one pole,
Okay.
one sign that is long.
One more
Says
signature.
Ryan.
Well, I got a brand new one in the garage, simply because remember the state came around and changed all 36?
I know they-
And I said to the guy, I said, I'd like that old Ryan Road sign. So one day I come home and there's one of them goddamn brand new ones about the height of this thing. I'm like, I just wanted that little one that said Ryan Road on it.
They didn't know it.
Yeah, so I'll trade with you.
Sure.
Yeah, I've got, find that one, it's got the garage, I haven't got it hung up, so I'll trade with you, so you got that double one.
Last-
Or the big one, you know, that reflects.
Last week. Yeah.
I was thinking, you know, they hadn't stolen those
I
Ryan
didn't,
signs.
same thing I said, it was
You shouldn't have been thinking it, cause as soon as you did, I said, must be all these kids named Ryan have finally grown up, you know.
So we haven't had a motion to adjourn yet, and I know that.
I haven't had the warrants either.
Oh, the
Yeah,
warrants.
I'll make a motion to accept the warrants.
Will you sign that one too?
Second. All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, put some glasses on, see what I'm saying.
So I guess that's it. Nothing more to come before the meeting?
Nothing more that I can think of, no?
Okay. I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Yeah, I'll second that, so we're done.
Thank you.